my thunder of my darkest night. You just can't go back and make it right, 'cause it's too late, your time is up. Damage done and now it's stuck, 'cause it's too late, you roll the dice, and now you have to pay the price, yeah. I'm in a better place now, I'm not gonna worry, no, I'm not even sorry, you're gonna be the lonely one. I'm in a better place now, I'm not gonna worry, no, I'm not even sorry, you're gonna be the lonely one. Say it again, you're saying you feel bad, so say it again. Only you can do that, my heart was open wide, I could feel it breaking deep inside, 'cause it's too late, your time is up. Damage done and now we're stuck, 'cause it's too late, you roll the dice, and now you have to pay the price. Oh, I'm in a better place now, I'm not gonna worry, no, I'm not even sorry, you're gonna be the lonely one. I'm in a better place now, I'm not gonna worry, no, I'm not even sorry, you're gonna be the lonely one. I'm in a better place now, I'm not gonna worry, no, I'm not even sorry, you're gonna be the lonely one. I'm in a better place now, I'm not gonna worry, I'm not even sorry, you're gonna be the lonely one.
There's nothing that I can say or do, and it seems that words won't change a lot. How can I make it through to you when these silly little words are all that I've got? We can try to just pretend I could hold you once again, 'cause I'm scared of feeling lost tonight. When I wake up, it's you that I think of, it's true, it's so obvious, but I'm holding back because you don't want me like I want you, you don't feel me like I feel you, oh no. And I must confess that you don't touch me like I touch you, never blush, baby, when I kiss you, but you don't. And I must confess that I wish I'd find someone new and forget about you. Forget about you, forget about you, forget about you, forget about you. There's only so much that we can save, like a storyline and a few cliches. When we break up, it's true that I'm making up, it's through. I don't wanna pass the buck, but we're in this place because you don't want me like I want you, you don't feel me like.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. It's me, your boy DaVante Goins, and Black News is back and here to stay. And the Buckeye City. Coming up on the show today, we are going to be talking about Andre's Law, what's inside of it, what's not inside of it, what the family expected it to be about. We're going to talk about Chief Quinlan's firing from his position as chief, but not from the department, and what faith leaders. They just did a press conference about it down in Washington. Pastor down in Washington, Adrian Hood, and others were involved. We're going to have that for you. We're going to have our one-on-one interview that we did back in December with Adrian Hood. Where does the money reside at in this upcoming city council election? We're going to talk about that. Where the money reside, We're going to remember icon actress Cicely Tyson. And a 10-year-old GameStop investor goes viral. And we've all heard about them. The organization called the Downtowners. Well, their president will be joining us live to talk about them and what the group does, because chances are you either love them or you hate them, but you love them or you hate them because you don't know about them and what they stand for. So they're going to be joining us, and there's so much more we have to get to. So all that and more coming up next, right here on the UnBought and UnBossed Show.
Now listen here on the UnBought and UnBossed Show with DaVante Goins. He's here to skip past all the drama by reporting on news stories that are relevant to Black America without all the hyped up false context that drives ratings. Our news deserves special attention, and DaVante intends on giving it that attention right here on this show. Right now, this is the UnBought and UnBossed Show with DaVante Goins.
All right, let me begin with this today. Everybody.
I have always been a great reader of black newspapers. And black newspapers have always had the goal of getting rid of race prejudice, of calling to the attention of black people all of the mistreatments that are going on around the country and around the world.
America is be true to what you said on paper. If I lived in China or even Russia or any totalitarian country, maybe I could understand some of these illegal injunctions. Maybe I could understand the denial of certain basic First Amendment privileges because they haven't committed themselves to that over there. But somewhere I read of the freedom of assembly. Somewhere I read of the freedom of speech. Somewhere I read of the freedom of press. Somewhere I read that the greatness of America is the right to protest far right.
All right, and that was Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. talking about the freedom of press and the importance of it. And at the beginning of that clip, that was John Johnson, the founder of Ebony Magazine. The reality of it is, Black Columbus, is that black media has been gone and obsolete here in this city for the past 10 to 15 years. When I was growing up, we had outlets and black media outlets. I'm not talking about Radio 1 and things like that. No, I'm not talking about Power 107.5, Joy Now 107.1, which was 106.3, and Magic. I'm not talking about any of those outlets. We had black media like the Call-In Post when I was growing up. I would even venture to say that when I got of age, to like the age of 9 or 10, my family began to tell me about, and I began to learn more about what 1580 WVKO was back in the day with Bill Moss. And not just with Bill Moss, but with Les Brown. Yes, I said the inspirational speaker, Les Brown. We had all of those people involved in black media. And when something needed that in action here, and media is leap, but yeah, shows quite some time, but with this new format of the UnBought and UnBossed Show, we are going to take the best of what worked in the old days and mix it with a little bit of new and come up with this new format. I like to tell people that what we're doing with this show is we are mixing a little bit of that drive time with a little bit of that news talk radio with a little bit of video to get the product that we are putting out today. But you are going to begin to hear today and every day from now on the real news from an unapologetically Black perspective, from our perspective, our news, our voice, our stories, our way. And that's going to be evident today in just the stories that we are covering. We sat down with Adrian Hood, the mother of Henry Green, who was gunned down back in 2016 by 2 officers. We sat down with Carissa Hill, the daughter of Andre Hill. We pay tribute to Cicely Tyson. Faith leaders, they just did a press conference in downtown Columbus about Quinlan's fire. You aren't going to get the commentary and analysis nowhere else like you're going to get it here on the UnBossed Network. And right here on this show, the UnBought and UnBossed Show. Now, with that said, yes, I do know today marks the first day of the shortest month of the year, known as Black History Month. We're going to get into that too. But before we get into that, I told you this is a Black news show. So there's no other way than this to kick it off. And we'll be starting the show, our way, right after this.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening sky.
Let it
resound,
Let it resound.
loud as the rolling sea.
I like this part right here. Come on.
Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of a new day begun. Let us march on
Let us march on.
till victory is won.
Now we add a little something to it. Just encourage you. We're going to take you to church later. Let's go.
We'll keep marching right until the victory is won.
To all our brothers out there.
Hold your head up, brother, till the victory is won.
To all my sisters in the struggle.
Keep believing, sister, till the victory is won.
Till that day.
Till that day comes.
Hey.
Let us march on
To victory.
till victory is won. Is won.
And that right there, that's the real national anthem of Black America. We have to lift our voices and let everybody know that our voices are nothing to play with. Now let's talk about what's inside of Andre's law. So 2 weeks ago, or no, not even 2 weeks ago, last Monday, in fact, City Council President Shannon Harton introduced what is known as Andre's Law, or file number 0196-2021 into law. And the sponsors of that bill were every single person on City Council, but it was led by Council President Shannon Harton, as I just said. But what it does is it's supposed to enact new chapters 914 and 1914 and 1915 of the Columbus City codes pertaining to the activation of body-worn cameras and the rendering of first aid by the Columbus Division of Police. We are going to go through this bill, and I'm going to take it line by line. It's a 4-page city ordinance, and we're going to have a conversation about it. But before we do that, I want to play a clip from my interview, one-on-one exclusive interview with Carissa Hill, the daughter of Andre Hill, who this law is named after, and what she thinks about Andre's Law at the time back in December, and what she wanted and envisioned Andre's Law to look like. Watch this space.
I want Andre's Law to go national, hopefully. I want this to end everywhere, honestly. The fact that the officer went on a non-emergency call and pulled his gun out, I feel like if you touch your gun, you should automatically have your camera. There was no point of his camera not being on, so I feel like we should keep pushing that issue.
So you heard her say right there that she envisions Andre's Law not just being here a local issue, but a local law, but she envisioned it being a national law. And sadly, it's a sad thing to say that you need laws like the Breonna Taylor Act, the George Floyd Act, and Andre's Law, even to be a thing here in America. And we're supposed to be the home of the brave and the land of the free, but yet black folk are being lynched by police every day. It's a shame that we need laws here in the city of Columbus that says that when we step out our car, we are going to do what we said we would do when we took our oath of office, and we will protect and serve the community by rendering aid. That should be a no-brainer if you are an officer or first responder of any type, that if you see a person in need of aid, that you immediately render aid, regardless of if you shot them or not, or if they're right or they're wrong. You need to render them aid. But apparently that's not common sense here in Columbus. So let's get right into it. What's in Andre's law here? So council is proposing the following changes to the city's revised codes. And the two changes that they are proposing are as follows. Number one, they are now going to require the activation of body-worn cameras during any enforcement action or other situation outlined in the directives of the Columbus Division of Police. Let me repeat that again. They are going to require the activation of body-worn cameras during any enforcement action or other situation outlined in the directives of the Columbus Division of Police. Wouldn't one think that your camera would automatically be activated, or that you would have the common sense or wherewithal to activate that body camera the moment you step out your cruiser and you get on the scene and you're interacting with folk? Because it could become a potential investigation matter, but not even that it could become a potential investigation matter, but that evidence, that footage is a matter of public record, and not just public record, a matter of evidence is another set of eyes, and it's not just a he said, she said thing anymore. Wouldn't that be be common sense? But no, we have to have a law stating that. And any interaction that the public has with the police, the moment you get out your cruiser and you walk on the scene, you need to make sure that body camera is activated. The second thing it's going to require is it's going to request that the police request aid from emergency medical services upon a use of force that results in serious bodily harm, as well as the rendering of medical aid under certain circumstances, also requiring police officers to obtain regular recertifications to render aid. Now, this right here, I just don't get, and it infuriates me. The second part of what they're proposing in Andre's law. And the reason why it infuriates me is because it says that they are going to require police to request aid from emergency medical services upon a use of force that results in services of bodily harm. In other words, they're going to make sure you call for an ambulance to get out there after you shoot somebody. Isn't that common sense? Isn't that part of the training that you should have received on day one when you were in the academy? If you shoot somebody, you need to call for medics. Isn't that common sense? Well, apparently, as my mom used to tell me, everything common ain't common sense. Everything that makes sense ain't common. I'm just saying, but that's what makes sense. But you don't hear 4, 6, and 10 in the dispatch talking about that and asking questions of why put that in the law anyways, or not just asking the question of why, because we know why we have to put it in the law, because those certain white officers and certain black officers, they shoot first and ask questions later, and if it's not in the law, they will be let off, because we've seen it time and time again, and we are probably going to continue to see it, and that's a sad thing. But the second part of this is they are going to require officers to obtain regular recertifications to render aid. Now, that is just crazy that has to even be in a law, because that's already the rules and procedures. Because I know if you are certified in CPR by the American Red Cross or whatever organization that you're certified in your technique and procedure and ability to render CPR services, you have to be recertified annually, and if not annually, biannually. But police officers aren't required to recertify. They are not required to recertify on an annual or biannual basis. And because they aren't, it needed to be put into a law. Where we do that at? Where in God's name does that make any sense? Come on, somebody, help me here, because I'm a little lost. I really am. I'm trying to figure out why in sans hell's creation do we need to put into a law which should have already been in the CPD policies and procedures handbook that you get recertified every year or biannually. Teachers, they have teacher in service days to get recertifications and trainings on certain things. That's why students are out of school so much when they're in school. Bus drivers, they have to go through certain recertifications every year. I totally don't get this, but this needed to be put into a law. I'm just saying, don't shoot the messenger, but apparently we have to put these things into the law. Now, here, let's read this legislation further. After it says what Andre's law is going to do, it says those who violate these new chapters can be subject to discipline per city policy and applicable collective bargaining agreements. So, only way you're going to be disciplined if you violate these two, as if you violated according to city policy. But if the FOP says, oh, you did nothing wrong, you did nothing wrong because the FOP got your back. It says per city policy and applicable collective bargaining agreements. But it says, however, in egregious cases where the behavior evidence a reckless disregard for the express requirements of the new chapter pertaining to rendering aid, the city may pursue remedies beyond discipline, including the filing of criminal charges against violators for dereliction of duty. So, my question is, all right, so this so Andre's Law is probably going to tonight be, and we'll cover it tomorrow, probably tonight be passed into law, and then it'll become a city law after tonight's meeting, because last week they waived the reading, so they'll vote, and I expect them all to vote yay, because if they don't vote yay, I'm going to be on their asses come tomorrow. And yes, I said I'm going to be on their asses for not voting yes for this. I am coming for you. But the reason why I know all of them will vote yes, because in Columbus, the council typically all votes for every single thing. When they call the roll, it's nobody abstains and nobody votes nay, except for on certain things. And it's very, very rare. We're going to cover a story later this week where, let's just say, Shannon Harton, he's not all the way there for black folks. What do you mean by that? Well, you got to keep tuning into the show to find out when we cover that, because he cut his vote against black folks and an ordinance from over the summer about the protests. But that's all I'm going to say about that. But what we need to keep in mind before we get to before we move on to our next story here is this: if if the consequences of violating this law are going to include the firing, I mean, not the firing, but the filing of criminal charges for dereliction of duty. My question is, when will Adam Coy, once she passes this law tonight, when will you file charges against Adam Coy for dereliction of duty? When will you file charges against the other 10 to 12 officers that were on scene for dereliction of duty for not rendering aid? Will you have the courage to enforce this law? Because this law doesn't go far enough. I'm just saying, it don't go far enough. But will you have the courage, Priscilla Tyson? Will you have the courage, Shannon Harton, Mitch Brown, Elizabeth Brown, Rob Dorian, Shayla Favors, Emmanuel Remy, Andy Ginther, to go far all the way and enforce this law once you sign this ordinance into law? And that is charging each and every one of those officers with dereliction of duty and charging Adam Coy with murder charges. Because make no mistake, he didn't just murder Andre, but he lynched Brother Andre. That's what the mainstream media outlets and the white outlets won't tell you, is that he lynched him for no reason other than Andre being black. Because Andre had on a Black Lives Matter shirt. I'm sure many of you didn't know that. They lynched Brother Andre for being black. Watch this space.
If you're tired of mainstream media outlets selecting news stories and events that don't appeal to Black America, then become a member of the UnBossed Network today, where we are the voice of Black America and providing coverage of events and news stories that you won't hear anywhere else. Visit theunbossednetwork.com to become a member today.
So, on this past Thursday, Mayor Andrew Ginther fired now former police chief Thomas Quinlan from his position as police chief. But when he fired him, here's what he said in regards to why he fired him. Watch this.
It became clear to me that Chief Quinlan could not successfully implement the reform and change I expect and that the community demands. Columbus residents have lost faith in him and in the division's ability to change on its own. Chief Quinlan understood. He agreed to step back so the city can move forward.
It became clear to him. Mayor Ginther, why are you playing the political game here? You need to fire Thomas Quinlan. You should have hired Tyant you should have hired him as the chief when you had a chance. But now we're going back to Ralph Anderson yet again. And what you aren't telling people, Mayor Ginther, is not only are we going back to Ralph Anderson to find another chief, but what you aren't telling folks is Ralph Anderson is looking for a fire chief as we speak. So Ralph Anderson is collecting 2 bills. Why in the world are we going to affirm a law firm? This, number one, not in Columbus, number 2, not in Ohio, but it's in Los Angeles, California. Here's the mayor explaining who is going to head up the search for a new chief. And then I have some words for him after this.
The search firm, Ralph Anderson and Associates, will again assist the city in identifying a permanent police chief on an expedited time frame. I want to assure Columbus residents that our commitment to change and reform will not wane as we seek the next leader of the Division of Police.
I'm sorry. His statement was cute. It was cute. I'll say that. It was cute. But I did appreciate being allowed to break the story first, about 5 minutes before all the other guys. I do appreciate that. But the statement was cute. Now, Mayor, we don't need to waste any more money doing a police search. Gary Tyan said he was available and still open to taking the position. A black guy, black chief. We already wasted over $100,000 looking for a police chief when you hire Quinlan, when the community, clearly what you're about to hear here in just moments is that the community spoke out this time last year saying we want Gary Tyan, and yet Ginther, who says, "Oh, I got the support and backing of the black community. I know what the black Columbus wants, and I give black Columbus everything they want." Ginther, don't tell that lie no more. But if you were listening to us and taking everything that we said into consideration, we're screaming it from the mountaintops, you would know that Quinlan wasn't the right choice. It was Tyan. I recall last year there being a town hall and for Quinlan and Tyan when they were the 2 finalists, and everybody at that town hall spoke out saying they want Tyan. But you still went with the rank and file. You still went with the insiders. And look what happened. Because you didn't make the right choice. Because you didn't have the leadership that you claim to have, Mayor Ginther. You didn't have the courage to choose the outsider. Let's go over what happened just in 2020 alone, because you made the wrong decision for chief. We were at an all-time high for murders and for violent crimes here in the capital city of Ohio. 2 unarmed black guys were gunned down by law enforcement in less than a 2-week time span here in your city. and you didn't handle it right. And God, we cannot forget what your officers in the Department of the Columbus Police, because you told us, Mr. Mayor, that the police chief ultimately reports to you. And you broke down the chain of command to us like we don't understand chain of command. And you said you hired Ned Pettis. Ned Pettis is the chief's boss. The chief reports to Ned Pettis, and Ned Pettis reports to you. So you are ultimately responsible for who's chief. You are right. You are ultimately responsible. That's why we are coming for that ass, Mr. Mayor. And the question I have for you is, and I'm going to be reaching out to Robin Davis. I already sent her one email about something this morning. I'm going to be sending her another email when we go on this next commercial break here, saying, Robin, has anybody from the mayor's office reached out to Gary Tyan to see if he would be willing to come up here and take the position? We don't want him to take the position merely because he's black, but we want him to take the position because he's the right man for the job. His color of his skin has nothing to do about it. He's an outsider, and he knows how to bring about real reform because he's done it at other departments already. But, Mr. Mayor, you don't have the courage, but I will be sending Robin that email right now when we go on our commercial break. Secondly, Mr. Mayor, let me break down what firing means. Demotion means. Well, when somebody is demoted, or here, before we go there, let's hear what the pastors, they just some faith leaders, they just had a very impromptu press conference about an hour ago now, and at 11:30, and here's what they had to say. But not only here's what they had to say, but they are delivering a letter to Mayor Ginther that was delivered right after the press conference. Let's hear what the letter says first, and then we are going to play what some of the faith leaders had to say at this press conference.
This letter that we will deliver today to Mayor Ginther. Dear Mayor Ginther, we believe every child of God deserves to be safe and healthy, but the leadership of the Columbus Division of Police has allowed excessive and deadly force against our black and brown neighbors for too long. We acknowledge that you demoted Chief Thomas Quinlan before the end of his probationary period on February 7th, 2021, but we call for his termination from the Columbus Division of Police. We need a police chief who leads change and responds to the demands of the community. Chief Thomas Quinlan has failed the people of Columbus in multiple ways, including gross negligence in the investigation of Casey Goodson Jr.'s death by not contacting BCI in a timely manner, failing to arrest Adam Coy for the murder of Andre Hill, aggressively mismanaging the anti-racist protests this last summer, and perpetuating a culture of racism and violence against black people within the Columbus Division of Police and in the community. So we faith leaders are seeking the peace of the city, Mayor Ginther, and calling on you to fire Thomas Quinlan.
Wow, they just put forth a pretty good argument to me on why Thomas Quinlan should be fired. And to those of you right now that says, DaVante, quit saying Quinlan was fired. Well, he was fired from the position of chief. That's why I'm using the headline that I was using a moment ago, is because technically he was fired from the position of the police chief because he was demoted. Now, everything I said prior to that, they said in their argument for why he should be fired from the department. Now, watch this. When one is demoted, that means you go back down to whatever position you were in before, or into another position or whatever. But I'm going to venture and go out on a limb here and say that Quinlan, Yes, he was demoted back to deputy chief in the position that he was promoted from in the first place, but receiving pay. When you're demoted, everybody, that means you see a demotion in pay. But Quinlan probably isn't seeing a demotion in pay at all. He's probably still receiving the same pay. But also check this out, everybody. Not only was Quinlan demoted, but why haven't we heard from Quinlan yet? And his thoughts on all of this. Sources tell me that Quinlan was just yapping away on a call before the announcement was made public that he was being, let's just say, let go from the position of being chief. He was yapping away saying, I'm going to do all X, Y, and Z. I'm the one that called the U.S. attorney in the case of Casey Goodson Jr. I've been in contact with the U.S. attorney, just running his mouth. And if anybody's ever spoke to Quinlan, or if you know Quinlan plays his cards close to his vest. He's very tight-lipped. Very, very tight-lipped. But on Thursday, on a call to a little over 80-plus people with a lot of community leaders on that call, he was just yapping away. Almost that he had to get a weight or something lifted off of his chest. Now let's hear what Pastor Donald Washington at the Mount Hermon Missionary Baptist Church on Sunbury had to say to the mayor about firing Quinlan altogether from the Division of Police.
Washington, I'm the pastor of the Mount Hermon Missionary Baptist Church here in Columbus, Ohio, and I'm thankful for being here today to bring expressions from ARC, which is the Area Religious Coalition. Fannie Lou Hamer said for every African American living under the Jim Crow rule in the South that she was sick and tired of being sick and tired. Today, ARC is sick and tired of our African American boys and girls, men and women, being aggressively policed by the CPD. They are traumatized by people of color far too long. We are sick and tired of our brothers and sisters being gunned down by rogue police officers and sheriffs for killing our kids. Casey Goodson for holding a Subway sandwich in front of his own house, in front of his 5-year-old brother and his grandmother. Andre Maurice Hill for holding a cell phone and with seemingly no consequences. We are sick and tired that Thomas Quinlan, chief of police, not addressing systematic racism within the rank and file of his department. We asked him to have an open forum with the black African American officers. To date, he hasn't done that. We are sick and tired of receiving anonymous letters from police officers, how they have been treated, overlooked for promotion simply because they were expressing their personal trauma and treatment to the higher-ups. And again, they were afraid because of retaliation, because I really do believe that all of the dominant culture white officers are not racist. But I do believe the system of the old boy club caused many to look the other way in an effort to keep their jobs. There's an old Chinese proverb that says, the fish rots from the head down. As far as I am concerned, Chief Thomas Quinlan is the king fish. And for him to step down and become the deputy chief is an egregious insult to our integrity. He needs to go. He needs to go now, because a leopard never changes its spots. Thank you.
If Bishop Washington was preaching a sermon right there, I think it would be tired. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired, because we as a Black community, not just here in this city, but all around the country, are sick and tired of being sick and tired of the same old responses to everything. From Congress on down, we're sick and tired of being sick and tired. We're sick and tired of being told some change is going to come, and then it never comes. We're sick and tired of being promised our 40 acres and never getting our 40 acres. We're sick and tired of it. All we want is action. And at this point, Black Columbus, I think we are at the point in our frustrations that we need to begin to enchannel the MalcolmXian philosophy and the MalcolmXian spirit. And by any means necessary, we need to start voting people out that we vote in. Yes, it's one thing to get our vote, but what are you doing when you get in office to keep our vote? Because if you aren't doing what you said you were going to do, Andy Ginther, we going to vote your white ass out. Yes, I said it. We going to vote you out, Andy. The only reason Andy is in there, the only reason Shannon, Priscilla, Mitch, any of those people on council right now is because of Black Columbus. Don't let them fool you. They are on council because of us, but not only are they on council because of us, what we're going to talk about at a later time later this week is that they're on council and in City Hall because they got appointed because of the Democratic political machine. But that's neither here nor there. They are there because of us, and we need to let them know that our vote, our voice matters, and we are going to be coming for your ass. Now watch what Adrian Hood had to say at this press conference, because she's sick and tired of being sick and tired too. And she's done told Andy that he will never run unopposed in the city again for mayor like he did in the last election cycle. Let's go to her clip right now.
Well, considering that today is the first day of Black History Month, I think it fitting to continue with the theme of enough is enough. We were here this time last year. The community spoke loud and clear about wanting a chief to come from the outside. The mayor acted like he heard us. Other elected officials acted as if they were genuinely concerned about our request, and yet and still he chose someone from the inside. I have said then and I say now, cancer does not cure cancer. Cancer does not cure cancer. And because of the leadership that continued to play within the Columbus Division of Police, we are here now, not asking, but demanding that someone from the outside come in. Channel 4 broke the story, contacting Chief Tarrant and him saying that he was still interested. We shouldn't even be here today because we should be reviewing his first year as chief of police. But we did not get that. So now the community is back again, saying to Mayor Ginther and those who are in the decision-making positions, give us what we asked for, because re-election always comes around.
She told you. Re-election always comes around, and as Auntie Bernita just said, we need a t-shirt. We coming for your ass. Yes, we gonna get t-shirts made because we are coming for your ass. No longer will we continue to take any of this. So, Mayor, if you didn't get the message already, the voice of Black Columbus and the faith leaders of Black Columbus are saying, fire Quinlan already. Grow a pair and fire him. That's all you gotta do, Mr. Mayor. All you got to do. All you got to do. We're back with more news right after this.
it hurts, there's nothing I wouldn't do. But I am outplayed, but I don't mind, no, that I got outplayed, 'cause I'ma need an upgrade. I thought you would see me crying, would you? No, I don't have to clarify it. My words, I think I saw you with another. I think I saw your hand slipping down. That look, that face smiling back at you is why you always wanna be around her. Now I've come to terms over you, and although it hurts, there's nothing I wouldn't do. I've come to terms over you, and although it hurts, there's nothing I wouldn't do. But I am outplayed, but I don't mind, no, that I got outplayed, 'cause I'ma need an upgrade. But I am outplayed, but I don't mind, no, that I got outplayed, 'cause I'ma need an upgrade, yeah. But I don't mind, no, 'cause I'ma need an upgrade. Outplayed, ooh, I know, no. Outplayed, 'cause I'ma need an upgrade.
I've been thinking about the good times. I've been sleeping through the long nights. I've been shining in the sunlight. I've been thinking how I'm alright. There's a reason for my feelings. There's a reason why I'm healing. Yeah, I feel higher than the ceiling. All because of you. You and I were so sweet, talking till we asleep. Every night I fall deep in love. Yeah. Cause you really get me, make me fall to my knees. Every night I fall deep in love. Yeah, wait a minute, don't you leave me before I get to kiss you. Wait a minute, I don't wanna be without you. Yeah, wait a minute, I can let you go before I kiss you. Wait a minute, I just need a minute or two. I should catch up on my reading, I should catch up on my eating. Yeah, but it's hard to keep your thoughts straight with you all up in my face. Try to get you out my mind, but why should I when you're all I really like? Yeah, I feel higher than a mountain, all because of you. You and I were so sweet, talking till we asleep. Every night I fall deep in love. Yeah. Cause you really get me, make me fall to my knees. Every night I fall deep in love. Wait a minute, don't you leave me before I get to kiss you. Wait a minute, I don't wanna be without you. Yeah, wait a minute, I can let you go before I kiss you. Wait a minute, I just need a minute or two. Minute with you is all I want. Minute with you is all I want. Minute with you is a minute with you is a minute with you is all I want. Minute with you is all I want. Minute with you is all I want. Minute with you is a minute with you is a minute with you is all I want.
you're watching nothing but the best of black news, commentary, and analysis of the day's issues. You're watching the UnBought and UnBossed Show right here on the UnBossed Network. Keep it locked.
Welcome to Cardwell Mobile Notary Service. I'm Leandra Cardwell. I run a full-service mobile notary company. We specialize in apostille, loan closings, structured settlements, and more. Wherever you are, I'll be there. Even in your home, I'll be there. At the hospital, I'll be there. Nursing homes, I'll be there. At the library, I'll be there. Coffee shops, you pick, and I'll be there. And yes, even remotely too, I'll be there. Just submit a request on our website. Don't forget to locate us on Facebook and give us a call at 614-999-0149, and I'll be there.
If you're tired of mainstream media outlets selecting news stories and events that don't appeal to Black America, then become a member of the UnBossed Network today, where we are the voice of Black America and providing coverage of events and news stories that you won't hear anywhere else. Visit theunbossednetwork.com to become a member today.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. It would help if I had the mic on. All right, so over the course of December, I had the opportunity to speak with a lot of people here in Black Columbus. I did a ton of interviews, and on our site, I did a written article about it, but we never aired the contents of that interview before, and so I want to do that here right now. I had the opportunity to sit down with the mother of Henry Green. Actually, you just heard from her in that last segment at that press conference, Adrian Hood, and who Henry Green was. He was a guy from the Linden area back in 2016, and he was gunned down by two white officers and murdered in broad daylight. And so I had the opportunity to have a wide-ranging interview with her back in December, right after the murder of Casey Goodson Jr. And we spoke on a wide-ranging of topics, from what's it like to be a mother in a club you don't want to be a part of, to what's going on with the case, to how she feels about Columbus's Civilian Review Board and what they are enacted to do. And I first want to play the two clips. We aren't going to air the interview in its entirety, but we are going to air two of the clips from the interview. And the first clip I want to air right here is about who Henry Green was, but not just who he was, what's going on in his case right now, because some big news is really going on that a lot of folk don't know about, that you're getting ready to hear about right now. The Civilian Review Board would have made a difference in the outcome of
for many years, and for one reason or another, it was turned down. And this time, the community showed up and said a resounding yes. So here we are.
The Civilian Review Board would have made a difference in the outcome of Officer Jason Bear and Zachary Rosen, who gunned down and murdered your son Henry, and the way the whole case played out, if the Civilian Review Board was established a few years ago?
Honestly, that's hard to say because we don't know. We don't know what type of authority the Civilian Review Board would have had or is going to have. We know that one of the requests has been for there to be subpoena power, but we have to remember that um, while all of this is going on and it's good, there is a barrier that still exists, a big barrier, and that is the FOP and that contract. So we have to, obviously there's things that have to be worked around as far as that contract is concerned. So until we have some hard line negotiation going on there, Um, there's still only going to be so much that the Civilian Review Board can do. How soon they are able to get access to records and things like that is going to be very important because, as a friend constantly reminds me, the fix is always in the beginning. So it'll be interesting to see, what records they will have access to and how soon they will have access to those, and if they have somebody in that space that is able to recognize cover-ups and things like that.
Mhm. So, what's next in your case? Because this past summer we saw that your case, correct me if I'm wrong, got bounced back down to the U.S. District Court here in Columbus, and you had taken your case. You were suing for wrongful death and the use of unreasonable force. So, what's next for you in seeking and getting
Um,
justice
so
for
we did
Henry?
win. So we did win our appeal, and yes, it goes back to the district courts, and we are still in the very early stages of that and what that's going to look like. But there could potentially be a trial, um, and so we don't know when that's going to happen. Um, so we're kind of still in a holding pattern. This is something that, to my knowledge, has not been done here in Columbus. So I don't really know what to expect, um, except for the fact that it could potentially go to trial, and that would be something that I would be looking forward to, so that the community would be able to see just how things are handled here, unfortunately.
So what you just heard right there is Miss Hood, the mother of Henry Green, talking about if the Civilian Review Board had been around when Henry was murdered, what the potential justice could have looked like. And then she also explained to us at the end of that clip about how she's still working day in and day out to get justice for her son's death by the Columbus Police Department, and two officers in particular. But not just that, she explained to us how she won in the appeals court. And so since she won in the appeals court, it's gone back to the district court, and how it could potentially, in the coming weeks and months ahead, be a trial. Yes, I said it right. A trial. And something like that has never been done in the history of the courts, of the judicial system here in Columbus, Ohio. Now, what I want to play for you is another clip from our conversation with Adrian about how she feels and how she interprets and views the Columbus Police Civilian Review Board.
For many years, and for one reason or another, it was turned down. And this time, the community showed up and said a resounding yes. So here we are. Uh, we still don't know what that is going to exactly look like, and I'm okay with that because we don't want just something, we want it done right. And so that is going to take some time. And I think that it's important for the right players to be in that space when those decisions continue to be made, um, and not your traditional round of politicians leading the helm. Um,
Who do you
Probably the
envision
best
to
way.
be on the civilian review board? Uh, in your mind, is
Uh,
it NAACP? What does that look like to you, the formation of
well, it definitely does not include people that are appointed.
it?
We have enough of that with our city council, in my opinion. But so we definitely don't want, everyone to be appointed. I think that you start to get into murky water with that, and people start to play the political game of pleasing in order to stay in that seat. I don't think that anyone should be on there for any long period of time. And from the working group videos that I have seen, I believe they have agreed upon 3-year terms, and you cannot serve more than 2 3-year terms um, consecutively, which is all right with me. Because again, with this type of um, review board, you don't need to have people sitting there and getting comfortable um, and building those relationships with people that we don't need them to build relationships with. Um, so having them be able to do 2 consecutive terms is okay because you do want to have a level of continuity in the office so that things can be done consistently. Um, but I believe that there should be stakeholders um, from the communities that are harmed the most that have a seat on the review board. We know that there are also going to have to be professionals as far as investigative skills are concerned. Um, so that is a given. And but even in that, I still don't look to see those individuals being appointed. Um, it is something about the appointments that does not sit well with me because I think you get into a space of where you owe people, and we don't need any more of that. It is time for Columbus to turn the corner when it comes to our police department and policing as it's done. And in order for that to happen, we have to have people with innovative type mindset.
And that was Adrian Hood, the mother of Henry Green, speaking about her views and thought processes on the forthcoming civilian review board and the process here in the capital city. Well, we are going to take a quick break right here, and we will be back. And when we come back, we are going to be paying tribute to an icon, a legend, everybody's mother, auntie. We all loved her and adored her. I'm speaking of a noun ancestor, Mother Cicely Tyson. We're back right after this.
DD, that's me. DD, that's me. DD, DD, that's me. DD, You wear a hat, they gon' die. Me, I'm the dad in the hat. You just like clubbing and clothes. Me, I like afternoon naps. 3, I be missed for the road. My oldest like counting racks. My middle one, she's in a dirt bike. My youngest is just like a mama. The mama loves me and I love her, so if she wants something, it's never a bother. 3 little ladies, my babies, and 1 on the way. Now I'm stressing my mama. And don't try to play around, don't try to play with them unless you're looking for problems. Said don't try to play around, don't try to play with them. My brother's out with the drama. 4 to 5 nights on the road, counting the days till I'm home. I could do show after show, but nothing is better than home. Driving through nights I'm alone, counting the days till I'm home. I've been on road, I'm on go, but nothing is better than home. Cooking my heels like I'm Dorothy. I need new hobbies, it's boring me. Play with my kids and it's water me. I see new love for some motoring. I just want socks and stocks. I feel on top of the top. Shipping a pop like pop. Still young in my 20s, I celebrate. It's one for the dads, let me dedicate. Head of the house like the head of state. Bring home the cash and the dinner plate. I go, I zoom, accelerate. I cannot be bought at some bargain rate. I got on my back and my body weight. I stay in the crib like a quarantine. I stay in the crib and I isolate. Making my way, rushing, demonstrate. I ain't no special, I'm a tidal wave. I came to win, I ain't come to play. At my own pace and I'm never late. See this rap thing is still new to me. Might only do this for like 2 or 3. I'll be down as long as it's true to me. Got records on records that's new to you, but none of these records is new to me. I used to skip class, now I'm tutoring. I was just a team with a GED. On paper was worth like a couple G's. That hustle and work, nothing new to me. Look back now, I'm worth like an Amazon. Never underestimate G.O.D. Don't give me what I want, but what I need. D.D. that's me. 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 D.D. that's. So get up, stretch my legs. Eat some breakfast, milk and eggs. Brush my teeth up, wash my face. Start my day. Wake up, get up, stretch my legs. Eat some breakfast, milk and eggs. Brush my teeth up, wash my face. Throw my clothes on, start my day. Wake up, I can smell the smoke from the bacon. Let's go, see the sun shining from the windows. Okay, I know that today'll be a good day. Okay, I know that today'll be a good day. A, B, C, 1, 2, 3. Drink some water, brush my teeth, get out of bed and I stretch. Bed in my hair is a mess. Look through my clothes for a fit. Anything I do is drip. Feel like a kid when I'm tick-tock and I still keep it real as it is. I show my age, I don't switch often. I'm just as a dad as it gets. Try taking naps with my kids, talking. I'm guessing this life how it is. And I can't wait for the weekend. Keep jammies on like I'm a kid. Wake up, get up, stretch my legs. Eat some breakfast, milk and eggs. Brush my teeth up, wash my face. Throw my clothes on, start my day. Wake up, I can smell the smoke from the bacon. Let's go, see the sun shining from the windows. Okay, I know that today'll be a good day. Okay, I know that today'll be a good day. Feel good, feel great, can't complain. Look out my window, see birds and planes. Sun's out, some clouds, it might rain. Siblings on my nerves again. Summertime, go for a swim. Wintertime, go grab a sled. Spring, I might need an umbrella. Fall back in school with my friends. Attitude change like the weather. My mom tell me it never ends. Like clocks, we evolve in a circle. Every 12 months we do it again. Wake up, get up, stretch my legs. Eat some breakfast, milk and eggs. Brush my teeth up, wash my face. Throw my clothes on, start my day. Wake up, get up, stretch my legs. Eat some breakfast, milk and eggs. Brush my teeth up, wash my face. Throw my clothes on, start my day.
When you're watching nothing but the best of black news, commentary, and analysis of the day's issues, you're watching the UnBought and UnBossed Show right here on the UnBossed Network. Keep it locked. When you hit the wrong button and you don't know exactly what's going on because you're hearing other music and things and not what you're supposed to be hearing. That's what it should have said. But all right, it's a dead audience in here because I should have gotten some laughs right there, but I didn't get a damn thing, so I'm a laugh on my own. See, that's what happens when you have your own show. But folk aren't laughing with your jokes, you just make your own laughs. No, in all seriousness, we are having a blast here on this first day of not only a Black History Month, but this first day of just being back. But last week we lost an icon, and I'm happy that she's on to glory. But check out what our icon had to say about how she wanted to be remembered just days before she became ancestor.
Cicely Tyson, as you know, she's being remembered this morning for her genius as an actor, and yet her heart and humanity in blazing a trail for other Black performers is what many people are talking about today. The Oscar, Emmy, and Tony winner died yesterday, ending a hugely influential career that lasted through 7 decades. She was 96 years old, and we spoke with her a week ago before the release of her new memoir, Just As I Am. It came out on Tuesday, and she told us about the obstacles that she had overcome to make her dreams come true.
Whenever I'm offered a script, the first thing I do, I read a script 100 times or more. I just keep reading and reading until I feel it. When I get to the point where I feel like her skin has fitted my arm or my mind, my skin will tingle.
Oh my God. It's Nathan.
From her Oscar-nominated performance in Sounder, to her Emmy-winning performance in the autobiography of Miss Jane Pittman, to her Tony win for The Trip to Bountiful.
Why is it some days everything works out and some days nothing works out?
Cicely Tyson put her heart into every role she played.
That was part of her gift, was her access to her humanity.
LeVar Burton starred with Tyson in the TV miniseries Roots.
She was that deep well of strength and resilience and elegance and grace and beauty. And her talent was her ability to effortlessly access all of that humanity.
Tyson pursued her dream of acting despite her mother's objections. She didn't speak to you.
Oh, she told me I couldn't live there and do that because she thought that I was going to live in the den of iniquity.
Tyson succeeded at a time when Black women were at the bottom rung of the ladder, but she never gave up. You said when you started acting, you dreamed of seeing yourself in the front row of the Oscars.
I said one day, and this was long before I got to be, I said one day I'm going to sit in the front row of the Oscar Awards. And I did.
I know you did. Tyson was among the Kennedy Center honorees in 2015 and was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom the following year.
What my life became is not what I expected. I had no idea that I would touch anybody.
When the time comes, what do you want us to remember about you?
I've done my best. That's all.
Wow. Her best was pretty good.
Pretty good. You know, we'll, of course, have more about Cicely Tyson because I adored this woman. Yeah. And when I asked that question about how do you want us to be remembered, it's not that I thought the end was near. It's just that she's 96. That's the only reason. But she had so many plans that she was still working on, and we'll talk about that. But it's just, I just can't express my feelings today about seeing her and looking at that interview. And I looked at it myself 3 times yesterday. It takes on a totally different meaning. I'm now just analyzing everything
every little
she said,
detail,
every expression.
It's amazing that she told you that she got into acting because she was shy and she wanted to speak through others, because as she grew, she became much more comfortable and powerful speaking in her own voice, and by the end, I mean, peerless at that. And now I hope they have great cable in heaven because people are saying wonderful things about her, right? I hope she's hearing this. So
I love that LeVar Burton said, talking about her, because it was something you always saw in her, which was grace, courage, and resilience.
Cicely Tyson was essential. She was essential.
Yes, she definitely was essential. At the end of the day, all she wanted to be remembered by was how she done her best. I just saw that somebody in the comments Yeah, Auntie Vernita is saying she met her in Cleveland at the Ritz-Carlton Hotel 7 years ago. I would have loved to have the opportunity to meet her. I loved all of her movies, and so many people from my generation and from the newer generations, like the Gen Zers, Gen Yers, and some of the Gen Xers. They don't quite understand who Cicely Tyson is and why she was important and essential. But not just that. Just that I have to, for all of us that we might not like Tyler and all of that, but we have to give Tyler his props and his gratitude and his due thanks for allowing icon, mother, Mama Cicely Tyson to come in so many of his shows. That's how a lot of people really got to know her and the help. A lot of people got to know her through some of Tyler's shows from these newer generations. Yeah, it's just so many many shows, movies that she was on. Tyler Perry and her were close. She called Tyler Perry her son. He was like an adopted son to her. And Tyler Perry said he just so happened to pull out, he just felt in the spirit to pull out one of her movies and begin watching him. He got about 12 minutes through the movie and he receives a phone call from Oprah. And Oprah shared the news with him. When I heard the news, I couldn't come to grasp. It's not too many things that like hit me and like make me like take a seat and to pause and think about it. And the reason I believe it hit me, so it just like hit me, is because 2 days ago, even the day before, prior to her death, I seen her doing interviews promoting her autobiography, and the same as always, she was on point, on par. And her eloquent, exquisite rather, style and her delivery. And I saw that particular interview. They aired it on CBS this morning. It's like a 10-minute interview 2 days prior to her death. I saw it, and then I saw her on ET and a couple other shows. I saw the YouTube clips. I don't watch much TV these days, but I catch a lot of my news and things on YouTube, just the clips of it. And I saw her on all of those. I saw the 2-3 minute clips, and when I found out, I was like, whoa. Well, on a lighter note, we have joining us right now one of the executive committee members for a group known as the Downtowners. We are going to speak with him right now, and you either love them or you hate them, and you either love them or you hate them because you don't really know about them and what they do. And so that's why I've taken the liberty to invite my brother from another mother, DeJuan Sharp, who is the president of the Downtowners, on to the UnBought UnBossed Show to have a discussion about the Downtowners, who they are. The Downtowners actually just held a march and rally for Casey Goodson's birthday last week. Hey, what's up, bro?
What's up with you? How you doing, man?
Good, man. Yeah, so tell us a little bit about the Downtowners, about about you guys.
Oh, it sucks. I'm gonna ad-lib this a little bit. The Downtowners kind of got that name from I don't know where we got that name. It's like a byword. So we are just like regular black people. We're from all walks of life. We got all different types of people. But one thing we care about collectively is human rights, and Columbus matters. So that's why we chose to make a group.
All right. So what type of events other than protests and rallies and things do the downtowners put on?
All right. So in our infancy of we only been a group a month, 2 months now. And it won't protest, but we truly believe that a protest is supposed to be a signal, a thing that's supposed to come. And we have protests here in Columbus, and really nothing really happens from the protests. So what we're going to do is try to put political pressure on these people, at least get people informed on the issues, informed what's going on in Columbus. So hence the name Downtowners. Anytime something goes on in the city, you come downtown, you got to pay a ticket, you come downtown. You want to go have some good food, you come downtown. So why not come downtown for your rights and liberation?
Exactly. So the Downtowners, you're a mixed makeup of people. Are you? I guess would people consider you guys outsiders, outcasters, outliers because you don't fit in with hell, I hate to call names, but this is a black show, and I quite frankly don't fit in with PJP and all of these other organizations like Be Quick and so many more I could that have popped up. The Black Freedom Group that's no longer around and things like that. Are you guys like a makeup of that?
I think we're like the outcasts. We're just normal people in the hood. We just like, if you look at our city and you look at the other groups, which I respect with everything they have done, we're just pretty new at this, so we're like baby stepping, but we respect everything they've done, but we just have a different flavor. Like, I come from the hilltop, so I bring my hilltop way of life into speaking real things. And you might think we're kind of violent or whatever because we talk brash, but if you just sit down and talk to us, we're pretty intelligent, and we try to pretty non-violent. Just because we yelling don't mean we're violent. And we do have a positive message. We do have a substance to our message. It's just not walking around in the streets. You get tired with your feet get done. Like, we know that we're supposed to go to the city hall. We have lawyers that we're supposed to go talk to. This is how change happens. And all them other groups have different ways and means of it, but it's all part of the same movement. I personally, I'm not a good singer, so I'm not about to be out there singing hymns and none of that. Personally, I talk shit, so that's what I do.
All right, so talk to us about some of the events you guys have hosted, and how were they, not just how were they perceived, how did you come up with them? Because back in December, another KC event, you guys managed to have Subway at that event, right?
Yeah.
And things like that, and I mean, a lot of people came out to that event.
We did. We got a nice turnout to that event. Our Subway March, it was just, we came up with it because it was just a mundane thing of getting some food to feed your family. I don't know how that becomes murder. I don't mean to laugh about it, but I don't understand how that becomes justifiable murder by just feeding your family. So the simple things, it's always the little things that the police use to get us. We got to use the little things to help further our agenda. And I don't really mean to say agenda because people take that word and twist it. This is just life. This is how this was promised to us. We're not promised anything as being born as an American, but it's certain things we are promised by the Constitution. I think we should be lived up to that standard everywhere. I don't think we need no new laws or anything like that. We just need to be held to the standard. If we are a nation of laws, they should stand on that. So we do our little marches and all that protest, but that's not all that we do. Like I said, we're in our infancy. Pretty soon we'll be having food drives, coat drives, sock drives, whatever for the community. That's what we're about, community.
All right, so let's flip gears a little bit. I am gonna come back and we're gonna talk a little more, but let's get down to the real stuff right here. Yeah. All that cushy shit is done with now. Yeah. All right, so Quinlan, we talked about Quinlan and Def earlier in the show, and I mean, you know how he was fired from his position as chief, but really put back in the position they brought him up from. But now the faith leaders are saying that you should have just flat out fired him. What do you think about this whole Quinlan firing and this whole debacle the mayor has gotten himself caught up in now, trying to get himself out of another debacle because his probationary period was going to be up on February 7th anyways, and he just buried himself a deeper hole?
My personal feelings on that, he's just trying to get black people to vote for him when he comes up for this re-election because he know the FOP ain't gonna mess with him. He should have took a stand during the protest. If he really wanted to have change, he should have made a stand during the protest. I'm talking about the mayor. And he could have fired the police chief. I don't really want to talk about the police chief because basically, just like you said, that he came down and told you the chain of command when it comes to police, so it comes to him. He was running his show, he was running his agenda, and the people that was under him doing it he was happy about it. He was proud of it. That his feet about to be to the fire because he know that re-election coming up. He want to give us crumbs, and that's nothing. And it doesn't matter who they hire. It's that FOP contract. You could put me as a police chief.
All right, I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad you brought that up, actually. So the FOP contract, what are your thoughts on that?
Whoever wrote the FOP contract is the greatest contract writer ever. Because that's the greatest contract ever. You can do whatever you want if you're not black. You can do whatever you want in that badge and get away with it. You're supposed to enforce the laws, but you're breaking the laws and you get nothing from it. And if you do break the law, they're going to hire you back. They're going to keep giving you pay. And even if they do take your pay, they're going to have some little envelope floating around, putting money in it. They'll take care of you.
Yeah, because they had after Adam Coy shot and killed and lynched Andre Hill, they sent around a GoFundMe and did a GoFundMe campaign for Adam.
Somebody did a crime.
Yeah, exactly.
A crime. But they bash us. They come at us for whatever. I know people that got warrants for jaywalking. How do you get a warrant for jaywalking?
Let's talk about that. Over the summer. Well, now I'm born and raised just like you, bro. Here in Columbus, I've seen a lot of crazy shit by the police in my time, but I've never seen and experienced anything like that in my lifetime. What do you think, or why do you think they felt they had the right to act and do all of that and to cause bodily harm to people they took an oath to serve?
Just like in the beginning when he talked about the mayor had the levels of his accountability, how shit rolls downhill. That's why the mayor was weak. He could not protect people's amendment rights. He couldn't weed out people doing troublemaking and people that was out here doing what you're allowed to do, granted to do, birth to do here. And they just came with the heavy hand. Now, you just had Andrea Hoods on here. She's a powerful woman. I get a lot of strength and I have a lot of respect for her. But that one day when the police rolled up and they was 4 deep in the car and they was like 8 cruisers and they pulled up and they all jumped out, that's a jump out boy tactic. That's how her son died. So you might not put it all together, but it's all together. That's how they treat black people. And that's how they treat black people and anybody that's sympathetic to black causes. I truly do believe the white people out there saying Black Lives Matter pissed them off more than anything. It was just allowed. It's allowed. They didn't face any repercussions. They know they wasn't getting in trouble because they know they had the back of the mayor. The mayor had their back.
So with the mayor having their back, do you think city council has their back with Andre's Law and what they've put into Andre's Law? Because we covered that too earlier in the show. That we let off with that story actually, because inside of Andre's law, what it says, and let me quote it for everybody again, is that they are going to require the police to request aid for emergency medical services upon the use of force that results in serious bodily harm, as well as the rendering of medical aid under certain circumstances. Also requiring police officers to obtain regular recertification to render aid. Now, that's just one of two parts, but that's not what gets me. What gets me is that to enforce this, the city may pursue remedies beyond discipline, including the filing of criminal charges against violators for dereliction of duty if they don't follow those two laws, 1914 and 1915, I do believe, of the Columbus City Code. So, what are your thoughts on those?
I don't want to sound rude to the families, but that is rude to the families of them slain people using that man's name for nothing. Everything you said should already been on the books, common sense or a law. Dereliction of duty is already a law.
Well, wait a minute. Don't feel rude exactly, because I didn't get to it earlier, but Carissa Hill made a Facebook post because with this, they are going to spend $5 million to upgrade body cameras and things like that, where they get the $5 million from and all that. We're going to get into that later. But Carissa said $5 million on an upgrade for police body cam. Look at those emojis. It's clear as day in the body cam footage. They have now my dad getting murdered. And what was the change so far? First move should have been to arrest Adam Coy. Baja, justice is coming, the right justice, not these meaningless upgrades that don't mean anything, because even when murder is caught on video, nothing is done. And that was one of the main reasons for me asking you the question about the dereliction of duty, because if they aren't going to charge once they pass this law, which they're going to pass it, and nobody's going to vote no on it because that's how city council does. But once they pass this law, if they aren't going to file homicide charges on Adam Coy, at the very least, they should be filing, according to this new law, correct me if I'm interpreting it wrong, dereliction of duty charges, as well as on all of those other 12 to 15 officers that were on scene and derelicted their duty and didn't render aid.
It's all, see, in 2016, the city was given $9 million over that time to get body cams. So they used that $9 million to buy inferior cameras. So how are we going to trust them to buy the proper cameras that upload to the cloud or whatever thing they made it look pretty in the package to bring to the public? But really, what is it going to do? All these laws has already been in the book. We already got the body cams, and we already get nothing from the body cams. We get nothing at all from them. So really, what are they going to do with this money? That's what I'm saying. It's disrespectful to Mr. Hill's family for y'all to put that man's name on that. Only thing that's happening is they're getting more money. They're getting more training for training they should have already had. Because I guarantee you what, if there was an officer down call, they coming to help. They won't put every tourniquet. They gonna put every suction test thing to do. They gonna have 40 cops coming. They gonna come. But if it's us, and I'm not saying black people, if it's a citizen, they have no.
No. Call it what it is. If it's black folks, maybe for a few white folks they won't do it. But let's call a spade a spade. If it's black folk, they aren't going to do shit for us.
Poor people. If you don't have $1 million, you're considered. No, if you don't have $1 million to give,
you aren't donating to their boss's campaign and things like that. Let's just say it. If you don't live in Upper Arlington, if you don't live in Bexley, because Andre, he happened to be too close to Upper Arlington in a neighborhood that you don't see a lot of us in. And all he was doing was delivering money to a family friend, giving Christmas money to her.
They don't care. They don't care. They made this man put his handcuffs on when he was dying there with his hand when he fell into his hand, they was yelling at him to move his hand. So why would they make anything to help us? We got to help ourselves. We got to put the right people in these positions. City council is black, but what kind of black are they, man? Are they
because they're black don't mean nothing, man. What we're going to talk about later this week, what I was teasing a little earlier, is yes, city council may be black, but look at where the money resides. Look at where the money resides at, man.
Yes. The money tells you where it goes all the time. It tells you their loyalty.
What a money reside, what a money reside, what a money reside.
Yeah. You couldn't do that on the white show, but we could do that here on the black.
I am whatever I am wherever I go.
Right. But the money resides. Look at who's funding their campaigns. The Donato's families, the Schottenstein's family. Let's not leave out Les and Abigail Wexner. And then let's take a further look at all the current city council members. 6 out of 7 of them have been appointed. We need serious reform down at City Hall, because you get appointed, and not only do you get appointed, you get set up with a cushy nonprofit job, because what most folk don't know is when you sit on Columbus City Council, you're making $60,000 to $70,000 a year, but then they set you up with a cushy nonprofit or a day job where you still aren't doing no work, but you're getting another $70,000 a year, and oh my God, you're making damn near $250,000, over $100,000.
That's what I'm saying. And they all for the money.
Political machine here in Columbus.
That's another thing that the downtowners that we want to do is we're gonna have letter drive campaigns, and one of our first ones is talking about defunding the police, but not just taking money away from the police. We're gonna give you examples like Denver, Colorado, Toledo, Ohio.
All right, let's talk about defund the police, because I think a lot of people have a misinterpretation of what it means to defund the police. When you say that you want to defund the police, number one, that does not mean you want to abolish the police. No, because we still need the police to protect and serve. But they don't need, in Columbus's instance, $360 million. If we're going to defund them, when you say you want to defund them to all you current incumbents, that yes, not just incumbents, but all you current candidates is what I'm trying to say. We will be reaching out to you. I will, and the booker and producers of the show will be reaching out to you to get you on here. And that's the first thing I'm going to ask you about. Is not only do you support defund the police, but what do you mean when you say you want to defund the police? Because it's not enough to say I want to defund the police. What do you want to do with that money that you are defunding with them? So out of the $360 million, let's say, I want to take half of that, which is around $150 million roughly. And what are you going to do with that $150 million? Are you going to put it into pointless stuff, or are you actually going to give a damn about the people who put you in office and invest it back in the neighborhoods, in the communities?
To schools, everything.
Maintenance and things out.
They're making us believe that we're asking for a fairy tale. What we're asking for has already been done. They just scrapped them programs. Our recreation and parks, scrapped. After school programs, scrapped. Sports programs, scrapped. Anything to do when you're a kid to stay off the streets, you can't do it no more. They wonder why these kids are shooting everybody.
Right, and why we were at an all-time high with our murder rate last year.
That has nothing to do with the police. The police do not prevent crime.
The police, one thing I will say, and some black folk may be mad at me, but hell, you're just going to have to be pissed off at me. The police are, and I've told them this to their face from the zone commanders on down. I don't care what rank you are. I will tell you this. It is not the police officer's duty to play to play psychiatrists, to play mama and daddy. But in the world in which we live, because of all of what's going on, it falls on the police.
Well,
I'm
they
not
assholes
making
not
I'm not making an excuse for them, but I'm just calling an ace and a deuce. And that is, we are asking our officers to do too much now.
Way too much.
Way entirely too much now. And should is that an excuse for them killing us and beating on us? No, but that may be their way of expressing themselves, and that's wrong, and they need to be put in jail, because if it was me or you, we'd be put under the jail. But that's neither here nor there. We ask them to do way too much. And not when we say defund the police, well, we could take that money that we are defunding from them and still kind of and reinvest it in like health and human services and to non-emergency, non-critical police calls. Let's say a husband and wife are fighting. Well, you can send a cop out there, but the cop that goes out there doesn't need to be armed, number one. And you can send them out there with a mental health specialist.
Right. All this, Columbus is behind the curve. Everything that you said,
I'm going to say Columbus is behind the curve, bro. I'm gonna let you finish. But as the mayor likes to tout two things: Columbus is America's opportunity city, and Columbus is America's 14th largest city. But finish your statement, because it was going to tie right into that with Columbus being behind the curve, and the mayor wants to tout those two things.
And we're so-called quote unquote smart city, but we are behind the curve. Them cities I stated earlier, Denver, Colorado, Toledo, Ohio, and Dayton, Ohio, all have had police reforms. Seattle, all have had police reforms, and the crime rate has dropped. The revenue to the city has risen. So there's really no excuse for not wanting to do this, unless you just really just hate black people.
Right. And somebody in the comments just asked, does the CPD have a community relations department?
Yeah, to give you a job.
Yeah,
they're not even going to hire you.
Yeah, they do. And what I think what she was asking is where they're involved in the community. Yeah, in some ways. But in the black communities, a lot of folk don't want to be perceived with speaking with the cops, because then you look like a snitch in some people's eyes.
That is, but
and that's not a good thing.
Back in the day, we used to have the police athletic league. They would have police officers that played basketball or whatever, coaches, whatever that, in the hood.
Yeah, what I would like to see, bro, is they do this in some cities, and we need to do it here. I believe it's called like a community liaison officers. We do have those here, but not in the way in which I'm about to describe. Where officers, we give them some money to actually take one of these vacant abandoned houses in the neighborhoods and be part of the community, fix it up and move their community in. There was a show in which they done this on in the black community. I believe it was in LA, called Lincoln Heights. Back in the day, Lincoln Heights on what's now Freedom Channel, I think, or something like that. But it was ABC Family back in the day, and they did this on that show, and it worked out really well. And you got to see the officers outside of their uniform. Now, I have family who are police officers, and seeing them outside of their uniform is totally different. Totally different in how you perceive them. But any final thoughts on this?
That's how undercovers work. Because they real people. They just got to remember that this is a fucking job. I'm sorry, I don't mean to cuss like that, but it's only a job.
No, it's unfiltered, man.
It's only a job. That's it. They can quit tomorrow and not be a police officer no more. But I can't quit being black.
Right.
Born like this. We just need to have common sense approaches. I think a lot of people are trying to overthink everybody and overanalyze shit. It's already been set out. It's already a plan. We just really got to stick to it if that's really what you want for this country, or you just want to be on top and be superior. Choose a side.
All right. Tell everybody where they can go to not only find out more about the downtowners or the Columbus downtowners, and where they can go to support you guys, where they can go to give.
We got our Facebook and Twitter is the Downtowners with a Z. And like I said, we're in our infancy. We're about to start our Cash App and PayPal, but for real, we're self-reliant right now. We're just trying to work and getting our message and getting our YouTubes out there. So this summer, just expect some big things from us. We like black parties. We still black people. We still gonna party, but we're gonna have a message and a rhyme or reason behind our party and madness.
Yeah, and they know how to throw a party because they learn from the best right here. But all right, thanks, bro. We're gonna have to have you back on really soon, and you're also gonna be seeing more of DaVante here really soon here on the UnBossed Network. I got a feeling you're gonna see him with his own show, but he'll be back as a friend of the show more frequently than you might imagine. You could be seeing him again later this week. Who knows? But we have to take a quick break right now and pay a couple bills. And when we come back, before I let you go, there's still hope in Columbus. It's still hope during this pandemic and things like that. We're back right after this.
Cold pizza Tuesday. I got food up in the fridge. Y'all keep looking for that new way. I think I like it how it is. Cold pizza on a Tuesday. I got food up in the fridge. Y'all keep looking for a new way. I think I like it how it is.
My shoestrings untied, I'm running full speed with scissors in hand. I love pointy things. Let's fall on the floor next to all of our needs. Let's lose inhibition. Let's fly like our dreams is reality. Real things ain't quite what they seem. Once you hold it, does it gleam? If it's green, is there a soul? Is a soul a real thing? If you're really in the know, is it all a scripted show with the cameras and lights and the laugh track to kill all of my loneliness inside, and a casting crew of friends who are always there when things get dry to crack a joke? But instead I'm hearing Cali up in smoke in real life where the whole world broke and the pizza always froze. But it's all good, this is all I'll ever know. So I better chow down while the food straight snow. Make my own damn waves inside my own studio. Taking life for what it is, even if it's getting
cold pizza on a Tuesday. I got food up in the fridge. Y'all keep looking for a new way. I think I like it how it is.
Bitch, what you got here? It's always as good as it gets. Even throughout all the mess and regrets, piled cigarettes and the rest. All you got's every breath till your last, and then you'll be dead. So live it all good. Dish your nose in bed. Be grateful for what you got. Don't let that ego in head. Keep it free, boy. Keep them strings off me, boy. No stems, no sticks, no seeds, no stress, no peace, no love, no free. Don't care, mo chains for me. Don't share, I keep. Yo, bitch, let's eat. Yo, bitch, let's eat.
Tuesday. I got food up in the fridge. Y'all keep looking for a new way. I think I like it how it is.
When you're watching nothing but the best of black news, commentary, and analysis of the day's issues, you're watching the UnBought and UnBossed Show right here on the UnBossed Network. Keep it locked.
Welcome to Cardwell Mobile Notary Service. I'm Leandra Cardwell. I run a full-service mobile notary company. We specialize in apostille, loan closings, structured settlements, and more. Wherever you are, I'll be there. Even in your home, I'll be there.
At the hospital? I'll be there.
Nursing homes? I'll be there.
At the library? I'll be there.
Coffee shops? You pick. And I'll be there. And yes, even remotely too, I'll be there. To submit a request on our website, don't forget to locate us on Facebook and give us a call at 614-999-0149, and I'll be there.
If you're tired of mainstream media outlets selecting news stories and events that don't appeal to Black America, then become a member of the UnBossed Network today, where we are the voice of Black America and providing coverage of events and news stories that you won't hear anywhere else. Visit theunbossednetwork.com to become a member today.
Oh, welcome back to the show. Wow, it's hard to believe our time is almost up. We have just a few more minutes left. I'm going to get to this last story before I let you go in just a moment. But I was just bent over during the break reading an email for a story that I'm working on that you all are going to want to hear about, and we're going to talk about tomorrow about how council, or not city council, but some people within the city are suppressing the city vote to get on the ballot. It's a really interesting story. We just got some of our questions answered, and I look forward to bringing that to you tomorrow. Also, folk, remember to support Black-owned media. It is important. It is through your support that all of this is possible, that we're able to do the interviews that we do. We are able to go out into the community and provide the live streams that we do. All of those things cost money, from all of the equipment to the lighting to the studios we are in. We're in 2 studios. We have an actual studio about 5 minutes from the center of downtown Columbus, and it's 5 minutes between the center of downtown Columbus and 5 minutes from the airport. Sits right in the middle of both of them. And we are in our second studio in my house because of COVID. And all of those things cost money. And so we simply need your support. You can become a member of the UnBossed Fan Club by heading over to our website, theunbossednetwork.com, and become a member for as low as $5 a month. That simply said, $5 a month translates into roughly 13 cents a day. That is less than 2 or 3 cups of coffee a month. You can become a member for $50 a year. Simply, if we get 10,000 of you to become members of the fan club, we are set for a whole full year. We have other shows coming on the platform. Kiara, she's doing her show, starting it back up, the Black Liberation Show this weekend. DaVante, who you just heard, we're trying to get him set up with a show. There's 4 or 5 other people that'll be having shows as well, and they'll be making guest appearances on this show. And if we want people to take us seriously, we need the support of Black Columbus. Right after we did the story about Andre's law, when we were talking about Andre's law and the firing of Chief Tom Quinlan, and we were talking about we're getting t-shirts made, we coming for your ass. I had somebody in the audience who was watching the show, Black business owner who designs t-shirts, say, hey, give me the opportunity to do it. So I'm going to speak with her. I was DMing back and forth with her. We need your support, Black Columbus, Black America, to grow this company, to grow this platform, because you see what happened what we did when we had little to nothing. Just imagine what we could do when we have resources. You saw we had the opportunity to break first before any other outlet that Chief Thomas Quinlan was being fired from the position of police chief of CPD. You also saw that in the case of Casey Goodson Jr., when everybody else was reporting that Casey's was killed just for being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Basically, we were reporting that the family had questions and that something didn't feel right, that Casey was killed because he was black. And didn't you see the story change? We were the only network here locally to get a one-on-one exclusive sit-down interview with Carissa Hill, the daughter of Andre Hill. And we were able to get all those interviews because we are black media. Black media, black press is important. And we won't thrive unless you are supporting us. We need your support. Bottom line, we need your support. So for all you to say, we've been missing black media, we need black media, we need our own platform for our own voices and our own stories to be told. Well, we finally have one. And we've had one for a few months now, but we finally have one on a large scale. And now it's time for you to, for lack of a better term, put your money where your mouth is. Also, you can watch this show, the UnBought and UnBossed Show, with me, your boy DaVante, every weekday from 12 p.m. to 2. And we'll be bringing you the same type of content, the same type of news, the same type of analysis, commentary that we brought you today for 2 hours every single day, guaranteed, Monday through Friday, every weekday. During your lunch hour, when you're having these conversations at work, anyways, or some of you are virtually, so you're dying to have these conversations with somebody. And now you could have them with us. We are also working on, we have the equipment here. Now we are working on how to make the features and operate the features to allow you to call in to the show. So we can do live call-ins. All that is coming. So that's what I wanted to briefly talk about. Now let's get to this before I let you go. Before I get to the before I let you go story, you can not only go to the unbossednetwork.com to become a member, but you can also give on CashApp and give on PayPal as well. That's paypal.me/UnBossedFanClub or CashApp at $UnBossedFanClub. And you can find us on Patreon at UnBossedFanClub to become a member today. Your support is why we are able to do what we do. Now let's get to this last story, which is a little bit of a brighter note. I saw this on Facebook, and I just had to show it for to all of you. It's not all bad in the hood. There's still joyous days ahead of us. Watch this space.
If this world were mine, I would place at your feet all that I own. You've been so good to me. If this world were mine, I'd give you the flowers, the birds and the bees, and it'd be your love beside me. That would be all I need. If this world were mine, I'd give you anything.
If this world were mine, I would place at your feet.
Come on.
With words untold.
Okay.
You can have anything.
Come on.
If this world were mine, I give you each day so sunny and blue. And if you were beside me, I would give you that too. If this world were mine, don't be there. I give you anything.
Oh, baby, you're my inspiration, and there's no hesitation when you want me. Honey, just call me.
Oh, baby, I'll be your consolation. And there'll be no hesitation when I'm in your arms.
Will you believe me? Oh, the way that you do.
The way that
oh yeah, the way that you do.
The way that you love me.
Oh, every sky would be blue as long as you're loving me, baby. Oh, give me pretty loving, baby. Give me pretty loving, honey. Keep on loving me, baby. Oh, you know I need you, honey. You know I need you, baby. Keep on loving me. Loving me the way you do, my love.
The way you love me, boy, you love me.
Oh, I don't wanna let you go, my love.
The way that you,
you know. The world would be yours.
Woo! Awesome. Yes. It's not all good, bad during the pandemic. Some good stuff is still happening. That was actually filmed about 2 years ago in a Walmart. I believe it was in South Carolina. But the message still remains the same. But not only does the message still remains the same, did y'all see those white people? They didn't know what the hell was going on. And then he stops. He creeps in, then he pulls out the iPad and starts recording. But what happened was the gentleman, and because the two of them didn't know each other from Adam, they just met up in Macaroni. What a coincidence, the black folk in Macaroni. But nonetheless, he heard her humming a little loudly a tune. And so he walks up to her and he says, "Excuse me, ma'am, do you know if this world were mine?" And she said, "Yes." And he's like, "All right, would you like to sing with me?" And she starts singing and he joins in, and the rest is history from there. Those heifers can sing, y'all. They sang. They had church up in Walmart. So the message remains the same, that it's not all bad. Even when you go into Walmart, just take a little moment. I know it's the pandemic, but say hi and appreciate the other folk in Walmart, because they're people too, and they're going through some of the same things that we are going through at this moment, not knowing where the next meal is going to come from, not knowing if they're going to catch COVID or not catch COVID, and where they're going to get the next money to not only put food on their table, but to pay their bills and things. They're human too. We're all going through the same problems. Well, that's going to do it for us right now in Black Columbus. Let's give us a round of applause right now for a great, fantastic first show. We'll be back tomorrow at 12 p.m. sharp, and every day to come to follow. As always, Black Columbus, remember to keep it real, because your conscience depends on it. Peace. I'm out, y'all.
Thank you for watching the UnBought and UnBossed Show. If you haven't already subscribed to our channel, what's holding you back from smashing the subscribe button? Don't forget to hit the bell to get notified every time we post a new episode. DaVante will be back here every single weekday, breaking down the most important news stories to Black America. We'd love for you to share this episode with your friends and family. And remember, Black America, to keep it real, because your conscience depends on it.